Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking to you about why exotic animals as pets should be banned. Exotic animals are adorable and unique, as shown as these tigers are cute and docile. But many people often forget about the dangers and responsibility of owning these types of animals. People are more focused on how cute and adorable they are as babies, but once they grow old and huge, they can no longer maintain for them and release them in their backyards. One unfortunate tiger lover shut his 6-month-old Bengal named Stoli in the back of his new Mercedes convertible while he ran inside to get his phone. He came back to find Stoli had eaten his seats, door panels, dashboard, chewed an escape route through the roof, and left an 80-pound tiger-shaped dent on his hood. $15,000 worth of damage in 5 minutes. Their relationship never recovered. I chose this topic because I wanted to inform my audience that if they're thinking to purchase an exotic animal, to think again, and to examine all the danger it may bring and the proper care it takes to maintain for them. Animals have always been a passion of mine, and while owning a wolf sounds amazing and is very reckless and irresponsible. And today I will be talking to you about how exotic animals become invasive species, how they are dangerous to you and your neighbors, and how it is inhumane for the animal itself. First, we will begin about talking about the different types of animals in the United States. A survey conducted by the American Pet Products Manufacturer Association listed the most popular pets in descending order: rabbits, hamsters, guinea pigs, ferrets, mice, gerbils, chinchillas, hermit crabs, pot-bellied pigs, and hedgehogs. But Holly Friedland, program director at the Mid-Atlantic Reptile Show, says the most popular exotic animal is the bearded dragon. So how many exotic pets are there in the United States? Well, there are currently 700 chimpanzees in U.S. homes of unknown origin, as in they have been smuggled from Africa. There is also an estimated 5,000 to 10,000 tigers being held as pets in the U.S., which is more than exists in the wild worldwide. Commercialized reptiles, especially iguanas, have increased to 1 million per year. So why is it a problem to own these types of animals? A perfect example is in Zanesville, Ohio. In 2014, a man released 56 dangerous animals, including Bengals, lions, lionesses, black bears, grizzly bears, monkeys, mountain lions, and more. After releasing the animals, Terry Thompson shot himself. And the sheriff's deputies shot and killed 48 of these animals, and only 6 were recaptured. Exotic animals can be a symbol of social status and can be easily purchased on the web. Black bears go for $300, and tigers go from $500 to $1,000. Wild Animal World sells exotic pets from Louisiana and offers monkeys, tigers, and more. After the Zanesville, Ohio incident, many states have opened their eyes. Which brings me into my next topic. After the animals were released, there was one monkey roaming freely with herpes B virus, which is 70% fatal in humans. Exotic animals bring many different types of fatal diseases. An estimated 75% of emerging infectious diseases are zoonotonic diseases, mainly of viral origin. Zoonotonic diseases are diseases that normally exist in animals but can be transferred into humans. This is the source of several human infections that include severe monkeypox related to pet prairie dogs. In 2003, the outbreak that affected dozens of people in the Midwest was traced to a prairie dog to an Illinois animal dealer's shed. The Lissa viruses that are in pet bats and a more common ringworm infection acquired from pet African pygmy hedgehogs and from chinchillas. Similarly, an outbreak caused by Francisella tularensis occurred among wild-caught commercialized prairie dogs. Human contact with reptiles and other exotic animals have accounted for 70,000 cases of salmonella each year. After looking at the different types of diseases that exotic animals hold, are you still interested in owning one or allowing your child to go over to a friend's house that owns one? Now let's talk about how exotic animals have turned into invasive species. Invasive species harm our lands, waters, and native species. Many exotic pet owners are not warned about the size of the animals that it can become. And once they reach 150 pounds and are no longer to provide for them, people often release them into their backyard. Mark Cozy owned an African sulcate tortoise. When he purchased it, he was able to hold it in the palm of his hand. After a few years, the tortoise grew to be 150 pounds.
No.
Lucky for Mark, Busch Gardens held an event that accepted about 100 exotic animals, without question, even if the owner was unlicensed. The event was held to encourage exotic pet owners to not release invasive species into the wild. Burmese pythons are wrestling alligators in the Everglades. African monitor lizard, ill-tempered and 7 feet long, are splashing through canals in Cape Coral. Vervet monkeys hang around car lots in Fort Lauderdale. South American monk parakeets wreak havoc on power lines. And Cuban tree frogs have colonized almost everywhere, gobbling native frogs as they go. Zebra mussels have clogged up waterways and destroyed boats, and have made life on the water practically miserable in the United States. The mussels are originally native to the Caspian Sea in the inland eastern of Europe. Here is a shopping cart covered in zebra mussels.
Are those the ones that poke you and cut the crap out of you?
I'm not sure. They're really, really small.
No, not the ones I'm thinking of. I don't think.
Super invasive.
In 1859, 24 rabbits were introduced into Australia as a hunting diversion for European settlers, and the 24 rabbits hopping around turned into 10 billion rabbits by the 1920s. The federal government spends over $1.5 billion each year on invasive species prevention and control. So what can we do to help? Oh, and there's also wild boars taking over. In 1988, wild boars were introduced into the United States. As you can see, they took up half of Texas and pretty much half of Florida and a little bit of California. By 2009, they took up most of California, almost all of Texas, and a lot of Florida and the surrounding states. So what can we do to help? Sign a petition. Here I have a petition that, if passed, will ban exotic animals as pets. I believe we should all sign this petition because exotic animals are being released into an unnatural habitat by careless owners, pose a significant threat to our environment. They take over the habitat and kill off animals or species native to the area. They also pose a potential threat to people and even our neighbors. If a tiger escapes in the middle of the night and you find it hungry by your pool, it could pose a potential threat. There's a petition. Exotic animals are truly unique, but are considered wild for a reason. As they may be adorable as babies, they grow into enormous, dangerous animals. These types of animals carry diseases that can be fatal to people and cause enormous outbreaks. They also require a lot of attention and care, ensuring they have the correct amount of space to roam and enough food to keep them from getting hungry and angry. If the animals are improperly released, they pose a threat to our environment by taking over as an invasive species and killing off native animals that live in the area. The next time you're thinking about getting an exotic animal as a pet, remember there are lots of cats and dogs living as strays, and the 2-pound tortoise you saw at the auction can turn into the 150-pound tortoise you can no longer feed. Do you have any questions?
I do.
What's your question?
How are exotic animals brought into the U.S.?
Well, during the transportation process, parrots have their beak and feet taped and can be stuffed into plastic water bottles. Then they're able to be hidden in the suitcase easier. And stolen bird or reptile eggs are concealed in a special vest so that they can pass the x-rays at the airport easily. And baby turtles are taped inside their shells and stuffed into socks. And there have even been infant pythons stuffed into CD cases and shipped. The Environmental Crime Investigation estimates that 90% of the reptiles imported die within a year. And most of the regulations pertaining to exotic animals only protect humans from injury and diseases, and they do not ensure that they are handled properly. Do you have any other questions? What's up?
What kind of harm happens to the animal once in the home of their new owner?
Well, if you own a hedgehog who roll themselves up into a ball, children can pull them apart and injure them, as well as if they're attacked by a cat. Sugar gliders are another example. They require a lot of attention. They're very social. So if the sugar glider doesn't get enough attention, it can self-mutilate and potentially die from loneliness.
I did not know
They're-
that.
yeah,
That's
it's
so
crazy.
sad.
There have also been dozens of attacks by wild cats on humans in the past decade. In one incident, a tiger muled a guardian's 3-year-old son. In another incident, a Bengal tiger tore off a 4-year-old's hand.
Like, why would you have a tiger with your kid?
And a lion has killed several dogs before trafficking a child into his room. So I do not recommend exotic animals as a pet. Thank you.
No problem.